Yo, what up, people? Smith still motherfucking R. Here today, of course, to give you guys Rozen Maiden 2013, episode 13, motherfucking motherfucking review. Now, this episode, it was actually pretty good. It was like, yo, because finally went back from that doll stuff. No, no. Finally got away from the doll stuff, and now we're back on Jun, the older one, and basically his life choices. And basically in this episode, what happens is he wakes up and finishes the play, and then they're having the after party, and then he's wondering if everything that happened was actually real or not. And then he sees the doll, and it's of Hina, I believe, who is the sixth doll or the fifth, one of them. And the thing about it, no, yeah, she's the sixth. And the thing about it is that he saw the doll and he realized everything was really happening. And then basically at work, he's finally getting the payoff that he deserves, and he's getting a chance to become manager. And with life, he's attending college again. He's getting back on track, but he's wondering what he should do because now the theater group wants him as like a permanent member. And he's trying to decide because he's realizing that even though his life had so little possibilities, he managed to turn it around to all these different possibilities that he could take. He could continue college. He could do that whole thing with the theater group. He could become a manager, move his life up in his career. He has so many opportunities now in his life. And I really did enjoy that. And then it flashback to Jun in his life because we find out that the seventh doll is still alive, and she basically reaches up and she grabs control, and I believe she takes over the body of Hina, that doll that Shun made, of course. And the thing about it was really like interesting. It really was. I was like, yo, because then now Jun, the younger one in that different world, he gets hospitalized. Like, he gets hospitalized. And now they need the other Jun to come over to their world and help them, the dolls and all that. And so it's like just when his life starts to get back together, he gets pulled right back into all this doll stuff. And Saito, what the fuck? Like, still nothing there. Come on, bro. He had his chances too, and disappointment. That was a major disappointment. But overall, the way now he's getting dragged back, and then the final scene where we see him look into that fucking mirror after he just gets done with like this magical video call that can go between dimensions, like legit. Who's his fucking phone provider? Yo, I want that shit. I want that type of service for that. What you doing now? Oh, everything's dead. Oh, nah. Let's check out some other dimensions. Like, yo, that was the shit. Like, yo. And then basically he stares into the mirror, and then it goes from the mirror to like that black world, like that dimensional, weird, like astral world. Yeah, astral. And then we just see like a door close, and then there's this bunny motherfucker there, and then it closes in on his face after he bows. And then he's like, yeah, and he just slides back in the shadows. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, the way it ended, it was like, yo, but then he gets dragged back in. And so it's opening for a second season. It really is. And I believe this is like a remake, and there actually was like a second season to the original version of this. So there might be a remake of the second season. I don't know. If it does, 'cause, I mean, the fighting, yeah, because that was basically a summary of the episode. It was pretty straightforward. Actually, something that surprised me was that his boss actually started to respect him. And that was the shit. Like, he finally earned his dick boss's respect. That surprised the shit out of me too. And overall, this series, though, as a whole, because that was a quick summary, episode 13. If I had to give anything, it's like 9 out of 10. It's good. It's good because his lane's finally progressing, but then he gets dragged back into all this bullshit, all this stuff, and So I can't give it better because I mean it was just good because it was a good ending because it led for another season, but it answered a lot of our questions, and there aren't very many. You know, I mean, it didn't like leave us with wondering about things that much, except for a couple things here or there. But like what's gonna happen next? But that's the one that every single fucking animation leave you with. What should happen next? Like what could happen next? That's what every anime should try to leave you with, and it actually did. So it succeeded in that goal. But if you gotta ask more questions and like, oh my god, how the hell did he do all that stuff? Or what's the power system of this person? Like, yo, if you have to ask yourself that, then it didn't really do a good job of ending because there were so many questions that they should have done this season that they didn't answer. And if you have to wait a whole nother season to get these answers, then that's fucked up. But as an overall, for this entire series, I had my gripes in the beginning. Oh yes. Episode 1, 5-minute video, just fucking raping. Yeah, fuck this shit. And then I watched the second episode. And the second episode had nothing to do at all with the first episode. Well, it did, but it didn't. It was like different perspective, and I was into that shit. Because, I mean, it's like, yo, this dude's life is shit and horrible. And, like, yo, he has a horrible dick boss. And there's this girl. And it's like, yo. And I was digging that. And then the dolls started coming back. And I was actually digging that, too, because they started helping him turn his life around. But then, when it started going back into the fighting, I got off of it a little bit because then all this shit's going on. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And then the way it ends now in this fucking video, like with this fucking episode 13, it sets it up for more of these experiences with these dolls. And in my opinion, even though it's good, it's also bad. Because I mean, his life was starting to finally picking up and turning around. And it's like he finally evolved past needing like these dolls. He just had like that constant reminder everything happened and he can change his destiny. And then he gets dragged back into it. That's kind of like a disappointment to me. That's a gripe because I mean he learned his lesson and they did all that shit with the dolls. And now they're going to do it back again. And the thing about it is, I like the dolls, their characters, yes, I do enjoy the characters, but the fighting, no. No. Get that. Like I said before and I'll say it again. It is the most, like imagery in fighting. Like, yo, like each one of these petals you can, like, see. Like, you know, it's crazy-ass animation. It's, like, a beautiful type of fighting, but it's like, when you think about the fighting, it's like, this is really, really, really bad fighting. Like legit, they're like floating in rooms and like they're floating and like yeah, and just shooting like feathers and shit at people, like making wings, and growing a fucking beanstalk tree, like bio, like it's weird. The fighting just freaks me out. It just isn't traditional fighting, and I'm not into it. Like, you know, it's like very bad fighting in a sense. It is very vivid, and I like the animation of it, yes. But when you think about what's actually happening and how it would be if you were sitting there looking at this shit, you would be laughing your ass off. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, this ain't a fight. Where's my hype at? Like, you don't get hype for that. Like when you actually start thinking about it, it's just wind pushing shit. Like, and it isn't that interesting. Well, it is interesting, but it's like, nah. Like, that's weak fighting. Like, that's so weak. Like where's my Yu-Gi-Oh fighting at? That's some shit compared. Like, it's weird. But overall, though, even with the fighting, the story, like in the middle section of this anime, was top on, and I enjoyed it. It was like watching this dude's life turn around in his obsession with these dolls, but yet these dolls ended up saving him in the long run. That is a good thing. But then he gets dragged back in. And so it makes me question exactly what happened, because it did change his personality. But if he goes through this adventure with these dolls again, what's going to happen to his personality? Because he already did like a complete 180. So he'll either either way, he's going backwards when you think about it. He already did the 180. He can either continue go 360 or he can start going backwards back to the zero. It don't matter. Either way, he did a 180 already. He's at that complete opposite point. His life's turned around. He's actually having some hope. And then when they bring up the second season, it's like, well, unless his character stays exactly the same the entire time, which we know is very unlikely, then he's going to have to move away from that point. So we'll have to see. We will have to see about it. That's all I can say. We'll have to see. But overall, as a series, even though I have my gripes with it, and at the beginning I didn't get into it, because of the fact that I hated the first episode, and then the second episode came, and I was into that shit. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Fuck it, 9 out of 10. It was good. It was good. The series overall was good. I mean, the fighting, it's a bad point, but the series and the story behind it makes up for a lot of it. It really does. And some of the underhanded meanings. So, Smith's to motherfucking R. It was a good episode. And let's be honest, it was a good series. It was. I mean, the ending was nice and good, but yet pulling you back in, and it answered a lot of questions. And we saw the character of Jun, the older one, completely switch around. And I really enjoyed that because we saw it process. And when he started turning around and then he hit that speed bump and he started going back down. That was the shit. So with that being said, it's Mr. Motherfucking R. Peace the fuck out. Comment, like, subscribe, and all that shit if you want to. But peace out.